Happy Easter to all of you watching us in Cameroon and around the world. Welcome to Press R. On today's edition of the program, we're going to look at the Babadjou Bamenda road and see what the problem is. 4 years on, 4 to 5 years on, there are still problems on that road. And it is a very important road that leads the northwest to the west and, of course, to the center, to the littoral and other regions. Very important road, she has problems. We are also going to look at our parliament. Our parliament is a bicameral parliament now since 2013. We want to see what the nature, that bicameral nature has added to the Cameroonian parliament. Of course, we are mourning the kind of celebration in mourning. We have lost one of us, a world figure, religious leader, Christian Cardinal, to me. We're going to look at all of that on today's edition of the program. And to talk about, to discuss these topics, we have with us here in the studio Senator Henry Kmer. He is an SDF senator from the Northwest region. Welcome to the program, Senator.
Thank you very much.
We are honored by your presence.
Thank you.
We have Honorable Peter Njume Ambang. He is a CPDM Member of Parliament from Dian Division in the Southwest region. Welcome to the program, Honorable.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure.
Yeah, pleasure is shared, Honorable. Next to you, we have Emmanuel Tenno Tumanjong. He is a reporter for the Wall Street Journal and also for Dow Jones, or you know from the names, based in the United States of America. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Gideon.
Yes, and thank you very much. Another Emmanuel to the extreme right is Emmanuel who is a journalist. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Killian. Thank you for inviting me on Press R.
Yes, the whole production team takes credit for inviting all of you to our program today, and we're going to set it rolling as usual with our weekend review in our slot, press review by Our Lady on that beat, Emanuela Bembe. Manuela, what did the papers say this week?
The spectacular victory of Francis Ngannou of the prestigious UFC World Heavyweight Championship becomes that one news story on practically every newspaper this week. History is made on the Herald Tribune as Francis Ngannou becomes first ever African to win the heavyweight title. The Voice tells us how it happens, writing, Cameroon's predator shatters opponent in minutes. To the Guardian Post, Cameroonian Ngannou knocks out American, wins multi-million prize. The Chronicle Times looks at his early beginnings from a sand digger to world heavyweight champion, it writes, while the Post celebrates Francis Ngannou's first heavyweight win in historic performance, a performance which saw Ngannou getting Stibmau 6 pounds of flesh on the horizon. The Advocate simply presents him as King Francis Ngannou from sun to summit. Ngannou is undisputed UFC champion of the world on the Star. Cameroon Insider attests that Cameroon's Ngannou is world champion. Before the media closes this chapter with Bia's congratulations to Francis Ngannou. The coronavirus pandemic keeps making victims in Cameroon. The World Health Organization warns that COVID-19 cases may disrupt Cameroon's healthcare system on the Guardian Post, as the public health minister calls on individual effort to combat rising COVID-19 cases on the horizon. A call heeded by Wabane Council as it intensifies campaign against COVID-19 on the Post newspaper, especially as the Limbe Hospital director says Limbe COVID-19 statistics are devastating on the same paper. Then Atanganji threatens pastors with arrest, shutdown of churches for ignoring COVID-19 prevention measures on the Herald Tribune, just when government found wanting in the management of IMF COVID-19 loan on the Guardian Post. As the March session of Parliament unfolded, Cameroon Insider reports on the National Assembly that okays all bills as the Senate takes over. Then Prime Minister is stunned by MP from home constituency on alleged corruption in book commission on the horizon. To the media, MPs take Dion Gute, Minrex to task over control of government action. Then PM addresses MPs' concerns on textbooks, forest on Cameroon Insider. before Felix Mbayu tells MPs why Minrek stays mute when attacked from abroad. The French MP confirms killing of civilians in Bongé by the army on the horizon. Then Mayor debunks separatist manipulation claim of massacre in Bongé on the Chronicle Times. Villagers refute allegations of massacre in Bongé on Cameroon Insider, but army spokesperson calls it a hoax on the horizon. At the time, an overzealous Anglophone duo orders arrest of civilians in Kamer as suspected Amber fighters set school on fire on the Guardian Post. An improvised explosive device then killed 6-year-old in Kumba on the Post, when another Amber commander, Amoka of Fue Bakundu, surrenders on the same paper. Devastating fire then razes dilapidated houses in Great Sopoboya on the Advocate and renders dozens homeless on the Post. Central African Republic President hails Biya Savi on municipal updates as Biya and Touadera for strong ties on Cameroon Insider, happening when hard times await absentee lazy civil servants on the Sun. Then Konak sharpens tools to investigate into the land-grabbing saga in Boya as the Bilingualism Commission launches war against hate speech and xenophobia. Secondary Education Minister goes on an offensive against immorality in disciplines in schools while shifting resumption date to April 12. Let's now end our press review with this story on the Guardian Post, where a man was attacked in broad daylight in front of a supermarket in Douala by bandits and vamoosed with 500 million Cfa francs. The unidentified man was said to have been driving with the money in his car when he was attacked by the bandits. After resisting to hand over the suitcase for some time, the gunmen reportedly shot him on the leg before taking off with the 5 million Cfa francs. He was later taken to the hospital for treatment. Until I come your way again, this is your hour with the press.
Thank you, Emanuela. As usual, we look forward to seeing you next week, next Sunday, same time, on Press Hour, God willing. You listen to Emanuela in the introduction of this program. We talked about the passing on to glory of His Eminence, Emeritus Christian Cardinal Toumé, who passed on this week, Easter weekend, if I should be more precise. The time Jesus died, he decides to die, and you know it is said across the world that his integrity as a religious leader is unquestionable. Honorable Peter.
Yes, thank you very much. It is with mixed feeling, actually. Today is Easter, the day we celebrate the resurrection of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, a day of hope for all Christians. And that is why, to me, the departure of His Eminence Christian Cardinal Toumé is like, I'm not really sad over it as I was supposed to be, because he's a man of God, he's a man I know is in the bosom of the Lord. He's a great son of Cameroon, a great son of Africa, a great son of the Catholic Church, a great son of the world. And God decided to take him at this time to make us to understand who he was. And so I will say, adieu, Cardinal Toumé, may you rest in the bosom of the Lord.
Senator, if one were to go by reports that I got from CRTV, Douala, because he died in Douala, there's somebody who was close to him in the report who said he told them that no, they should be praying for his departure, not praying for his resistance because his body was already weak. He should be somebody who was, as it is said in the Christian belief, within the Christian community, that those who believe do not fear that they are happy when they die because they know where they are going to. He must have been happy.
You have said it all, Mr. Ndakilian. I think his passing on has just fulfilled God's mission for him. We all, as we live, we know that there's nothing as sure as the fact that one day we are going to pass on. You can be sure, you can doubt whether you'll be rich. You can doubt whether you may achieve something which a goal that you've set for yourself, but you cannot doubt the fact that one day you will fizzle out of, you will leave, depart from this world. And I think that is what the Bible says. God created life and death, and so that it was good. And may it be so. I think I'm happy. I'm very happy for the passing of his absence is going to let us miss him, because we're going to miss his dicey handling of issues, political and religious and otherwise. He was an all-round person. He showed concern for the society in which he lived. In fact, there have been one moment we have been asking whether he's a politician or a clergyman. But I don't see how you cannot say the clergy people or the clergymen operate in oblivion. They operate in society, and human beings are political beings. I think he's passing on. We need just to pray for the repose of his the repose of his soul.
Yes.
Even the video footage showing his remains, I don't see any offense with that. It shows the fact that we are empty, we are nothing, and we are made of soil, and unto dust we shall return.
Well, authority has to, public authority has to protect that, because it's actually so private, and those who did that have already been punished, or they are being punished for that. I think we have pictures of the cardinal, the lead cardinal. As we comment, I would like us to, do that as we see the pictures. Emmanuel Chu, he talked of somebody who was not only religious, he had to intervene into political, social affairs because it concerns human beings.
Thank you, Killian. I think His Eminence Christian Cardinal Tumi, the few moments I know him, I know he is a man who has always been on the truth, no matter how bitter the truth may be, but he says it. And actually, we have seen him like a Pope Cameroon never had. Christian Cardinal Tumi, at one moment, he was to be picked up amongst other cardinals to become Pope. That's why I would say he's a Pope like Cameroon. Yes, shortlisted. He's a Pope that Cameroon never had. And his way of doing things actually made such that Cameroonians had even at one moment make a call. Even some people in the government were even for the fact that he could stand in one-time presidentials in this country, so he could become president of the republic. But when he came out, he said, even though as a religious leader, he still retains the citizenship as a Cameroonian to stand in for those elections, but he refused to stand in for the elections.
And chose to follow the path. He, from our analysis, was born and has died following the religious path. Emmanuel, Teno, to Manjo.
Yeah, I've had chance to be with the cardinal quite often, well, not too regularly. When the cardinal was made cardinal from being an archbishop, I was in Bishop Rogan College as a student in the high school preparing. I was supposed to go to the major seminar. I didn't go finally. Today I'm a journalist. And we had a chance where the cardinal came to our school. I had drawn, naturally I'm an artist, so I had drawn a newly built chapel in Bishop Rogan, and the cardinal came there to bless us and to bless the chapel. I won't forget, it was a very unique opportunity for me where he called me out because he appreciated my drawing and blessed me, blessed the chapel and blessed the drawing and so on. I've had chance as a journalist working at the time for Associated Press. I interviewed the cardinal on several issues on Cameroon, him running for elections, or maybe what does he appreciate the society to be. The point is the cardinal is so full of too many virtues as a person in the world. In Cameroon, in fact, Cameroon is very lucky to have a person like the cardinal, and whoever will not learn from a person like the cardinal means he will hardly learn, because the cardinal was open, he was never biased. The cardinal, he advised us several times to live as though we could die the next moment, so that we go to heaven. He was an example of who Christ created us to be. So for me, when I look at when the cardinal died, like Honorable Juma said, when I got it, it was just exactly what I had in mind, because I don't think the cardinal was, if he leaves, he's just going through the transition. He's not actually going, he's not dying, and because like Honorable Kmer said, Kamer, sorry. when you leave, you have to die, and dying is not actually a bad state, although we miss the person physically. But the point is that the person we are going through a transition. Dying is transition. So for me, the cardinal has gone through a transition.
Well, the point is, for some of us who must go through that transition, the point is accepting the transition. That is, if
you live like the cardinal advised,
yes,
you will go through this transition without being worried or stressed.
Yes. We are asking whether our director has some pictures of the cardinal so that we can see at the time that we talk about his humble nature, honorable. As a humble person.
Yes, I will just want to say this. You know, the cardinal had a call to be a servant of God, and he heeded to that call, and he has been so faithful to that call. He has followed the voice of the Holy Spirit throughout his life. There are so many testimonies, and so his passing on to me is simply said, the cardinal is not dead, he is alive.
Okay. Thank you very much. I think we've said someone who served the Lord directly for about 55 years of his 91 years on earth. We can only pray that his soul rest in peace with the Lord.
Amen.
Now we're going to move on to our first topic. It's the Babadjou, Bamenda Road. What is the problem with this? We have known several times that this road, there was one time from Babadjou to Bamenda, it's less than 50 kilometers, but people took 4 hours. Some did not even just take 4 hours. They spent almost the whole night transiting from Bamenda to Babadjou. We try to get in touch with even the topmost officials of the Ministry of Public Works. Up to yesterday, we didn't get that. But we know the social, the economic, and the political implications that are involved in this road that we can talk about here. Senator, how did you come for this session? Did you find it a smooth ride this time?
I passed through the Bamenda Babadjou road, obviously. But I'm lucky that I passed before the complete cutoff. Because you can imagine if I had to travel on the day that we left that cutoff between Babadjou and the rest of Bamenda and the Northwest region, I think I would have been caught there and maybe I would have missed the opening session of the parliament. Thank God I traveled through Douala and maybe within the period that we had not suffered that calamity. Mr. Kilian, it has been a very, I think this is more than the stations of the cross that the Northwestern has gone through as far as that road is concerned. You cannot talk about that road and forget about the promise, the age-old promise of about 40 years today of supervising the ring road that the head of state actually promised, supervising personally the ring road. But the unfortunate thing about this Babadjou Bamenda road is that it is passing. It is not passing. You cannot be sure about passing on it on daily basis because it can happen on a funny day that the rain falls and it will be plucked off. You will be plucked off from one part of the country, like it happened of recent. I will just analyze this problem about this road, Mr. Nda, in economic and political terms. Mm-hmm. Economically, we need just to ask ourselves before we supply any goods or services, we ask whether is it necessary, is it a necessity, or is goods of ostentation. In this particular case of Bamenda Babadjou route or Northwest and Western region being linked up by a good road network, it is a matter of necessity because Bamenda and Bafoussam or Bamenda and Buda, they are very important towns. They are divisional headquarters and they are regional headquarters, which must normally be linked up. And it actually brings in the factor of our national unity that we claim we make it a slogan, but we don't put it in practice. That road is a necessity. It's not a good of ostentation. The people don't need it as a matter of luxury.
Yes.
It is necessary.
Yeah. And
then next, after determining the status of that, you go now to the next to consider it. Does it really fall topmost on our scale of preference? The answer to is in the affirmative. It's supposed to fall on the highest point on our scale of preference. Then the next question is, why has it not been executed for the number of years?
Now let us begin with what is the problem.
It is a lot of...
You come from there, and you actually should know. We're going to...
Mr. Ndakile, you have said something here about the difficulties of getting to somebody who could answer that question properly in the most appropriate manner in the Ministry of Works. But I can answer it politically. What I can simply say about that Babadjou Bamenda route is a lack of political will. It's just a lack of political will. Because I know how this government operates. If the head of state were to decide today to visit Bamenda by route, that route will be constructed within the next 1 month and perfectly done. If you're not careful, they may put in place a 2-lane route from Bafoussam to Bamenda, just to be able to make sure the head of state cruises on a good route to Bamenda.
No.
So that is the question. That's why we say it is a lack of political will. No. It's not a lack of resources. The resources are there. The scale of preference and the lack of political will.
Now, barrister, well, you are a barrister.
No, I'm a barrister.
Yes, professionally, yes. You are also a senator.
That's right.
In Parliament.
Yeah.
It's no mistake. You're talking about lack of political will when we know that government hired contractors from this on this road from 2016. They had already started work 2017 effectively until the crisis in the northwest and southwest came. Are you still blaming government on the crisis?
Mr. Ndakile, this road was...
that's one of the issues that is given as a reason for that road not to be owned.
Let me remind our listeners and our humble panelists that that road project was Bafoussam Bamenda rehabilitation of that. It was a rehabilitation of the road Bamenda Bafoussam. And it was going on smoothly. I can remember we saw which was that company, working on it and progressing gradually until after Bunda, it passed to Babadjou. They destroyed even the portion that could be manageable. And I can remember we even the chairman of my party, my political party, visited people, stranded passengers on that stretch of the road. That was passable until when they came and docked and abandoned. Suddenly we saw the contract abandoned. And then it became an issue whereby they had to inaugurate. I don't know which contract they were again inaugurating. From Babadjou now to Bamenda to Santa, where they inaugurated, and even I think they popped champagne and spent some monies for that public ceremony for a route that was already ongoing. And they said that it was abandoned by what happened. We don't know what happened, but we heard that resources became short or whatsoever, and they could not continue with it. Then it happened that
the resources for this route, we can say that are available. They've been available since 2017 because that route 2016 effectively had to go into practice in 2017.
And 17.
Because there is World Bank sponsored road.
Yeah.
So we are saying that it's not because of resources. Given that the resources are ready, it could only be that it's because of the problems along that road.
Mr. Nda, may I tell you that the problems, the current crisis, made that route already having that already stagnated. And let me say something. This route happens to be one of the remote causes to the ongoing crisis. I can remember as lawyers were bubbling with the problems of the judicial department of state with the Francophone, the system of legal practice being confused. They had to also debate on that road issue, and it was one day planned. Lawyers, I can remember where we were in a group of WhatsApp group where they were planning to go and demonstrate on that route. And then even after that, after failing to go demonstrate because there were arguments as to whether that formed part of our duties and all whatnot. And then as they were planning to go and demonstrate at Santa and at the toll gate there to ask that what is the use of the toll gate being collected on a bad route, on a road that is actually not even worth.
That was already in the middle of the crisis.
But let me tell you what, this thing about the crisis affecting the road is like motive seeking for motiveless malignity.
Okay. We'll let other people.
That road could go on without any problem. Security crisis cannot affect that road. It is lack of the will. I'm saying this because I'm personally touched about that route. That route has been, it makes me feel not part of this nation. And I'm telling you, if they are considering that road now, it is thanks to the fact that the Amazonian activists, they are now claiming that with the cutting of that road, it is like they have been separated from the rest of the country and the independence has come. So the government will take that now as a challenge to construct the road so the independence.
They cannot claim that because they are the ones burning vehicles along that road. They are the ones fighting people along that road. It could not actually be a claim that
one came later on.
Yes. Honorable, listen to that one. It's Babadjou Bamenda. You are a member of parliament for the whole country. That is not the only portion of the road that we've planned in Cameroon as a nation, and it's not executed. So it's true that it's a big problem, but it's a problem that goes to other parts of the country.
Yes, thank you very much. Kilian, I want to smile over what my brother said.
The passionate way.
Yes, because he knows the truth. He knows the truth, and the truth is in him. And you see, when you know the truth, and the truth is in you, and you find it difficult to pronounce the truth, you know, it is sometimes so difficult to be yourself again.
What's that truth?
And the truth, what I'm saying here is that he knows why that road has not been tarred or constructed the way it's supposed to. He knows the truth.
What is it?
And
what is it?
I am coming.
Okay.
I'm coming. You know, we have to be honest to ourselves. Sincerity and truth are the only things that we have to tell the people of Cameroon. That we have to tell our own people down there. Look, let me tell you something. You permit me, please. When this crisis started, and when I saw that the crisis went to a point where they said school children should not go to school, I called the population in my area, Ekondo Titi. There were approximately 2,000 people, the chiefs and everybody, and I gave them food and drinks. But I told them one thing. This is what I told them. That not until we start accepting the truth and living the truth, then will God stop this crisis. But if we refuse to accept the truth, this crisis will take us a long time.
And that truth is?
And that truth is that we are the ones responsible for roads and development not to come to our area. There is no revolution that is against his own self, that is against his own very people. Senator knows it. You have said it. When this road was already being constructed by Satom, the carcass of the phone loader is still there at Takum, destroyed by the separatists. The workers were kidnapped for ransom. So people were killed. At one moment, these road, transport agencies, Mogamo and Amumbezam, their buses were destroyed. It is like you tell me today that the road Kumba, Ekonotiti Mundimba, is not being constructed because of bad faith of the government, because of what you call, what did you say again? I don't even know those terms because they are not very important to me. The truth is that the separatists, the crisis is responsible. Because we had Sorobat. They came with, in fact, those equipments were the very first place that they brought them. Kumbaikolo Titi Road. They were walking. And what happened? The engineer was killed, some were kidnapped, and so on and so forth. Now, tell me if today, what has happened today, the government now says, okay, fine. If you don't want Satom, maybe because it's a French company, they have brought local companies. And thank God the work has started from the Bamenda end. Please, let us be honest to ourselves. Let us see the truth and speak the truth.
Now, the company has just been changed. We had a similar, because we should learn from experience, from history. We had a similar thing in the Far North region. The Mora Dabanga Kusere Road. The Chinese who are fit, who are qualified, who are tarring most of our roads today. They were kidnapped, so many of the workers were kidnapped, the equipment destroyed, some of the explosives stolen and used against us. It's not at the same level, but it's a similar thing that is happening between the West and the Northwest. Why take from a civilian company to another civilian company when the war has not ended? Because in the Far North, as I say, it was given to this military engineering company. Yes, company.
I think...
Okay, he's giving the floor to...
Okay, you're giving to a man, but I would like to step in. Because those very analysis you are giving there, I want to actually say that Honorable Njume Peter talks of let's be sincere, but I want to talk about let's be honest. Honesty is like virginity that when taken away from a woman can never be regained. The difference with honesty and sincerity sincerity can be masked. But honesty, when people lost hope on you, you should know that you are finished. Honorable, I want to actually say here that we have lived the events. This road was launched on the 17th of May, like Honorable Barrister Kmer, Senator Kmer. It was launched on the 17th of May 2017. The crisis were not at its peak then.
No war.
There was no real war in the Northwest region. If, as promised by the Minister of Public Works, that the works were going to start immediately, I think before the crisis, most part of that road would have been tarred.
Now, let me take this. Let me take you on that.
Yes.
When they started, what they did, road does not, without defending anyone, the road was so bad, and they started by scraping.
Exactly.
I think that was
what I wanted to say.
And it took people, because the road does not end at the entrance to Bamenda. It goes right into the town, and they did that.
Okay, Kylian.
Because that was what started. I remember very, very well. First
Yes.
of all, they wanted first of all to see how they could clear that upper part, because there were a lot of potholes.
Okay, Kylian.
And that they did.
There is a question.
And they were to start again to see how they can now start.
Okay, let's say the crisis.
We're just using the word sincerity and honesty.
Yes, we are saying that honesty here is not followed, because it's like we are doing something we don't want to do.
No, the honesty I mean here is that we, the Northwest, excuse me, we are the ones to tell those who are stopping development to stop it and let them give us a chance. Now the government has a heavy project. Excuse me, now the government has a heavy reconstruction package. The question is, are you sure that if they want to carry a reconstruction project in your area, I know, they'll be looking at me. Your place I know so well.
Which is my place?
Okay, before you took the floor, Honorable.
I know you are proud of it.
Yes, of course. It's my place. I love the place so much. Are you sure such a heavy project can be carried out?
Let me reply, Honorable Njume.
Remember that Emmanuel hasn't spoken.
Yes, Emmanuel hasn't spoken.
Yes.
And before Emmanuel cues in, I wanted to actually say that if we are claiming that the crisis is actually the problem, are you
saying the crisis is not the problem?
The crisis could
you were
be
talking
part
about sincerity. You were talking about sincerity and honesty.
Yes.
Do you stand?
It is part of the problem, but there is no problem without a solution.
Yes.
We always say
something else.
Honorable, please. We want to be sincere here and honest to ourselves. Okay. This crisis could be part of the problem.
Okay.
But what is wrong now with the part of Bamenda, the Babadjou to Matism? Is it still the crisis that is disturbing? Then the military engineering corps that has, tarred roads in the far north region that we have already mentioned here.
Thank you.
Why do they give it to a civilian? When you give it to a civilian company, they don't have.
Thank you very much, Emmanuel Tumanjo.
Yes, I think we have already touched on almost everything that is connected to why the road is not moving. But there are two main things that I know when the government is concerned, as far as implementation of work is supposed to be done. The government of Cameroon is very lax when it takes a decision to do something. One of them is the road. The road, it was decided that the road would start, construction was, and it was launched in 2017 after they got the money from the World Bank, I think about 37 billion or so. And what happened was that the government, which has a very strong bureaucratic attitude, was still going through processes on what to do, because the only people who can explain this very well as to why it was delayed when the crisis was not yet at full-blown level is the government. Because today, when I look at it, the non-construction of the road or the stalling of the road now is because of the fact that the government has been very lax and that the crisis has rendered the environment, unusable.
Why don't we think that the government is taking time to do?
The government is not taking time. The government is not taking time.
We should take 40 years to construct the Bamenda Babadjou road. Then we say
even on several other topics
from the World Bank. And to get money from the World Bank is a process.
The World Bank is not like that. The World Bank, the World Bank.
When we talk about money,
the World Bank gives money to a lot of money to Cameroon. The Cameroon government comes out project.
Even in Jangi House, it is a process.
You know, Jangi House. Let's be very flat on our topic. We are talking about the World Bank disbursing money. The Cameroon government. Let's not forget that the Cameroon government is very corrupt. And that's why the World Bank has to know how money has to be disbursed for whatever project.
Cameroon government. Today we're talking about individuals. There are individuals in the Cameroon government that are corrupt. To say that the government is corrupt is
the Cameroon government. The government is managed by somebody who can stop the corruption.
No.
And so the person carries all of this corruption.
Yeah, the World Bank was there to finance the
World Bank actually goes to people. The world. Let me tell you one thing that you may not know. That's the politics of the World Bank and the IMF, all the international donors. They actually go to where there are problems like corruption and the rest, because they spend their time giving money up, because the money has to be reimbursed. The more the delay of the reimbursement, the more the people make the money.
Yes,
donors will make more money.
Our question as a topic is, what's the problem? I think we have heard what the problem is.
Yes.
Senator. Just one word and we're moving out of that topic. Just one word, we'll have another topic.
I have said it, Kilian. Let the head of state embark on a journey, en route, from Bafoussam to Bamenda. Let him embark on that and say next month, May, he's going to embark on a journey en route from Bafoussam to Bamenda.
Simple.
That road will be constructed.
Exactly.
Perfectly constructed.
Well,
whether war or no war, whether Amazonian crisis or no Amazonian crisis. Mr. Ndakilian, let me just say this.
The company has been changed, and they say they're going to follow this one closely. Let us give them.
Mr. Let me just say this thing. Before Honorable Njeme accused him to defend the government as usual. In fact, what I have to say is, before the road construction process between Bafoussam and Bamenda got stopped, it stopped somewhere after the waterfall, the water catchment in Bafoussam. It wasn't even right at Babadjou. It stopped somewhere the way we saw the company folding its things and going away.
Let's look forward.
The company resigned.
What is the way forward?
The company resigned.
That road was
the way forward.
Mr. Ndakilian,
the way forward.
I cannot go to gentlemen. Let me land.
Senator Kamer,
we cannot give the impression.
30 seconds, please.
Yes, thank you. We cannot give the wrong impression to Cameroonians that road project got stalled at the Matazam. It wasn't at Matazam. It was right inside the heart of Western region.
Was it anywhere? But the way forward. The work is not going on.
The way forward.
And then now, Bamenda, the road is going on. The construction is going on. Bamenda.
It could be anywhere. The road is not going. The construction is not going on.
The way forward.
Mr. Kilian, this is what I will say. Let all of us go back to our regions or wherever we are, call our brothers who are in the bushes, who are stopping development to come to our area. Let us tell them it is now over. Let us blow the final whistle. We'll say it is over so that development can come. Let them give the present company that has been awarded, this indigenous company that has been awarded this contract, let that company work and let that road be a bygone. Simple.
I think that we don't have anything to say. That's what we hope that should happen. And the two regions, if we were to have western region, we have west region, we have northwest and southwest. We will have that road linking all these three, including even the littoral. That is our wish, and we hope that as the Ministry of Public Works has changed, they're going to follow that up and have that road. They know what is happening there constructed, so that it does not become another problem. We're going to move into our next topic, and our next topic is Parliament. What has the bicameral nature of it added to our legislature? We have two of our panelists here are parliamentarians, one from the Senate and the other from the National Assembly. Senator Henry Bamenda, by his right, you know, is of the Senate, and you have Honorable Peter Njume Ambang, who is a member of Parliament, and he's in his second term, if I'm not making a mistake.
You're right.
Yes, but you're right. Bicameral nature of our legislature, what has it actually added to it? we'll begin with you, because you came in 2013 when we had the Senate actually functional in Cameroon.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nda. Bicameralism, it must be met. We must make our public to understand actually what is meant by bicameral legislature, as opposed to unicameral legislature. The bicameral legislature is a situation whereby you have two houses or two chambers that take part in making laws. In England, you have the House of Commons and the House of Lords. And then in America, you have the House of Representatives and the Senate that form the Congress of the United States. In Cameroon, we have the National Assembly and the Senate that make the Cameroonian Parliament. And it was created by the philosophers who thought of that bicameralism in order to give effectiveness, in order to make lawmaking process to be efficient, so that at least what cannot be seen by the lower house, as they put it, or by the National Assembly in our case, it should be seen by people who are considered senior citizens, or people who are considered to have been tested in many domains, and they can see better where the National Assembly can see, to again refine or to fine-tune the law before it gets to the presidency for a promulgation. So to ask now whether the bicameralism has actually improved on our legislative process, what I can say is that it has not improved on it an inch.
How do you mean?
Yes, what I mean by that is simple. That the Constitution itself has made that bicameralism not work. Because what you have in our Cameroonian Parliament, made of the National Assembly and the Senate, is that bills are introduced to the lower house, that's National Assembly, and then after scrutiny and adoption by National Assembly, it is forwarded by the President of National Assembly to the Senate, who now again give it a second scrutiny. They could make some changes there, they could reject it, or they make some changes thereon. And then that same bill, as per the Constitution of our country, has to be sent back as amended or as rejected, to be sent back to the National Assembly, which National Assembly could again reconsider the amendment or the rejection, and they have the possibility of still standing by the original position. And then when in that particular situation, the head of state now comes in like the arbiter to actually maybe can create a commission between the two houses. And when the commissions even sit and there is still no agreement, it is the final decision has to be taken either it has to be taken by the National Assembly, which means the long and short about it is that the bill leaves the National Assembly to the Senate, it comes back to the National Assembly, and it is from the National Assembly that it goes to the presidency.
Now,
whereas that is not the case, which is
now, Barrister, well explained.
Yes.
In that case, you are redundant. What are you doing in the Senate?
Well, I'm there as, don't forget that I'm playing the role of the opposition. We have not been...
And that is even why, if you discover that you have from what you have described, you don't have a job.
Since we said the electoral quota is not a good one to ensure transparent elections, you want us to just stay and be observing? It will continue, just as we didn't go in for elections, or we went in for elections in an atmosphere when we knew that there could be no balance game, and the CPM took all. Is that what you want us to be doing?
Now,
playing the Cameroonian?
Well, just that if you discover as a member of the opposition,
we have to be there to make sure, Mr. Nda, that the Cameroonian population keep understand, because at the end of the day, they are the judges.
Honorable is very, very honest himself.
They are judges.
Let me explain something to you. I don't know where
go ahead.
Can I go ahead?
Go ahead.
See, look, we need to understand why the Senate came to exist in Cameroon. The notion of the Senate started around 1995 when Cameroon wanted to enter into the Commonwealth, and the Commonwealth blamed Cameroon for being very, that power was too concentrated on the presidency. So it happened that the Cameroon government promised that it will open up and shed out part of the powers, and that's how they had to revise the constitution of 1972 to get to in 1996. December 1996, and during that, in fact, that's a key revision of the constitution. That what we live today is that revision. What happened was that in that revision, a key point in the revision was decentralization. Most of what we are living today is what was being decided during that revision of the constitution, where you had decentralization of first the parliament. And for instance, divided the parliament from just being a parliament.
Yes, you are correct, because the Senate according to the clause that talks about them in
Yes.
the constitution, says shall represent regional and local authorities.
Fine.
There you are correct.
You have-
it came in as part of
I want to touch on
decentralization, but I want
what
to see-
the
I want actually
honorable
to see.
talked
I want to see-
about what the Senate has brought nothing to Cameroon. It's a fact. It's a fact because it's a fact.
No, because look, you know why I brought this. The Senate shall represent regional and local authorities.
Yes.
We know that regional authorities have just been put in place, which means that it gives them a job.
The question I need to ask.
No,
you said not to me. Let me react.
You miss it because I want to tell you something. And that's what I wanted to explain to
It
you.
makes you actually.
That's why I want to react to that. Let me actually react to that.
Honorable, just a minute, please,
Okay.
please, Kilian. Let me explain this to you again. Because what happened was that, look at the second. Although it was supposed to shed powers, it has actually emboldened the president of the country to have more powers. That's the Senate.
No,
I'm explaining that to you.
No, but listen, no,
let me explain it to you.
Anything here.
Let me explain it to you. Let me explain it to you. It is very simple, and that is why they don't have a job. That is why they don't actually have work, because the work that they are supposed to be done was supposedly already done at the assembly. The issue about this, in fact, what I forgot to mention. Just a minute, please. What I forgot to mention in the revision of that constitution in 1996 was first decentralization, and secondly the political transition in Cameroon at the helm of Cameroon, which is very key in why the Senate exists. The Senate exists because the power that were in the hands of the National Assembly, the head of the president of the National Assembly, to stand as a transitional personality,
in that case,
has been shifted to the Senate.
Which means it has added something.
Good.
Well, we are going against what you said.
Go for
that
before,
is even one big point to say that.
Go for before,
the bicameral nature of our legislation has added something.
That is a Latin position, because they actually don't do any work. That is a Latin position. It doesn't function. It's not functioning.
Please,
they are just handy.
Honorable Peter and Jume has spoken.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Honorable Bamenda.
Yes, please.
I sometimes see you become so tired because of the work you have over there. Answer for your work.
I have said it repeatedly that if I let the head of state, I will scrap the Senate the next day.
No,
I've said it, and I still stand by that.
Kilian. Let me just say something.
Do you know that the President of the Senate comes from your group, and from
my group?
No, your group means as Senate, and that any member of the Senate can become president. To be very frank, that's a fact. You were there. Any member of the Senate, because when you look at the conditions, could become the president of the Republic.
That has to come by.
No.
Transitional president. Transitional president.
It's a president now. Honorable Peter.
Transitional president who cannot take part in
election. Let me just say, Honorable Commander, let me just say something.
No, we are talking about the law that you know so well.
Transitional president.
The first thing I want to say here is that the coming in place of the Senate is a constitutional provision, as you rightly said.
Exactly.
And I want to take us a little bit back, just one second. The pressure that the head of state had to put in place the Senate came from the opposition. It came from the opposition.
Not the way it is.
And they used it. No, it's not a matter of where.
Not the way it has been crafted in the constitution.
Excuse me.
We are not introducing the Senate.
Excuse me.
Why do we not go to other countries and emulate people cannot create?
In fact.
Honorable Peter is speaking.
We could have gone to America.
Honorable Peter is speaking.
When this pressure came, they used it to discredit the head of state, and they used it to discredit the CPDM party. And what happened? The head of state remained calm because he knew when he was going to come up with it. But when the pressure came and the means were available, he put in place the Senate. I can remember how the SDF and opposition applauded that at last.
Now,
today they come again.
Thank you. What has
Jesus Christ asked what he was given Ghana.
What has that bicameral nature of our legislature added to
exactly? What it has added is, I believe that the person could have really made us to understand the truth is my brother.
Let me make you.
But he came first of all to say. But now let me just say something. He started by saying here that the two houses, he mentioned there that if something is not well done here, it could be done better the other way. And that is a position they have. And we call them the elders or the senior
You can mark an X to it again down there.
And the other part of it is what you rightly said here. Today, what has happened? The head of state has been going gradually, but very surely. Now he has put in place the regional councillors and the regional house. Yes. That is their work. Are you running away from your work, Oga?
Constitutionally, what do I represent? How do I represent them?
No, you people.
We are a parliament whose duty is to make laws and to control government.
Yes.
Tell me where it is to represent.
No, we represent.
How do we represent in the lawmaking process?
Okay, fine.
Good. Is there any special law that comes to Parliament for the Senate alone to over the Council?
Not a special law. Not a special law.
Yes.
If you are representing the local
by
entities,
doing what? How do we represent it?
How were you elected? You were elected by who?
Yes, but then to do what?
You were elected by them.
That is where the loophole stands.
I want you to tell me constitutionally what I do in representing.
No, why do you allow them to elect you?
No, it's a system of election.
It means you represent them.
We represent them in what? In doing what? In the lawmaking process.
No, no.
Please.
Okay,
We have not made any law
after this session, you can't let me teach you.
No, we have not made any law
session, can't let me teach you how to represent.
Senator,
I want to constitutionally know how we represent them constitutionally.
After this, I don't want to
laws and control government just like the National Assembly.
Let me take you.
Let me
take you on your word, please. Honorable, please. Let me take you on your word.
Yes, I want to know. I'm a constitutionalist.
Yes.
I want to see where in the constitution we represent those houses by introducing some bills, especially for them.
There is one time when you came into Parliament. I think that was the first Congress that you had.
Yes.
You, as a senator, as a person, you did something which the public applauded.
Yes. Controlling government action.
Controlling government action.
Yes.
You actually showed that the incompatibilities of some of the members.
Which is normal.
And as being pointed said, resign, you resign, you resign.
And the head of state followed me.
Now,
for the first time.
You understand? That's why I'm taking you on that.
Yes. Yes.
Now you say you don't have a job. What happened that when you did that, are you tired or you have understood that the system does not want you to continue?
He knows what he has to do.
Let me tell you that I did that because I had to do that as an individual. Not that I was constitutionally empowered to do something extra from what he can do. He could equally raise the issue. The incompatibilities existed everywhere. I mean that we could do that as individual parliamentarians asking questions. We can do that. I would not be the same person like me.
I don't see you asking such powerful questions.
I ask questions. No, honestly, if you're in Parliament, ask.
Okay, we have
it's very important to note that if the Senate is there only to vote laws, and they were elected by the regional council,
not only to vote laws.
I'm talking about what's happening. No. I'm not talking about what is supposed to be. That is actually what they are doing.
Not only to vote laws.
That is what they are doing. That is what they are doing.
One word.
By the way,
Section 14, sub 2 of the Constitution.
Not only to vote
Senator,
they make laws and control.
Exactly.
Section 14, sub 2.
What government action do they control?
They do. You do the same job. I do the same job.
What government action do they
I don't
control?
have a separate job from you. We do the same job.
We have Take Elvis. We have Take Elvis who is here. Take Elvis is here, and he's here with contributions from our viewers who have been sending in as they've watched this program from the beginning. Very hot, as you see. What have our viewers been saying about this program? Elvis, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Killian. Let's go straight away with Benny Stephen, who says, I'm thinking our government has intentionally refused to tar the Bamenda Babadjou road because the project has started and has not been completed. Metabume Motabeme Obesa Mujika says, to my opinion, it is true that government neglected the Bamenda Babadjou road, like Kumbai Konotiti Road in Aqua in Jan Division years ago, but it's also true that the insecurity is the main reason why the roads have been abandoned. We go to Tachi Roland, who says, hello to the entire crew. The Bamenda Babadjou road is lack of will of stakeholders involved, bias, and lack of control and supervision. And with the implementation of the bicameral system, it has increased state expenditure, and this has not, however, brought in a lot of gains. And then Tam Ismail Adamu says the state, since inception, got no feedback. The Senate, rather, got no feedback, thus no place of existence. And the Bamenda Babadjou road is like nature is redesigning something others would hardly digest, and the state of our country is a function of indifference between Cameroonian intelligentsia.
The last one.
And
the last one.
We'll conclude with Elvis American, who says the house of the bicameral system in Cameroon had added nothing to Cameroonian society, it's rather draining much from the local resources.
Thank you very much, Elvis Teke. Thank you, all of you who contributed on this program. You want to contribute, you see our TV web, then you log on to our Facebook page, and you can contribute. And you can also watch this program at your convenience, just logging onto CRTV web Facebook. Now we are going to conclude. We have less than 2 minutes to go. Just your last word. We're going to start from the end of the table.
I think you will be giving me a bit of time because I didn't speak about the
30
Senate.
seconds. We have less than 2
Kilian, first, the Senate being put in place, maintaining the bicameral nature of Cameroon, is a constitutional fulfillment. And it is an aberration in a country that faces so many challenges, be them social or economic, political, and whatever.
Yes.
And then we have never had a bill that comes out from the Senate, or the Senate imposes that this one we must debate. The Anglophone crisis is the case. We have never had a debate, neither at the National Assembly, nor at the Senate.
Yes.
So it is a terrible
Senator,
thing. We have people
briefly, we don't have.
The idea of the bicameralism is not a new phenomenon. Let the Cameroon government copy it rightly. There have been no complaint about the Senate in America or the House of Lords and the House of Commons coexisting in England or the House of Commons. So they should copy it rightly. Let either the Senate is empowered to do the role that is theirs in all democracies, or it is scrapped off and let the taxpayers' money be used properly.
Okay, Honorable Peter.
Yes, I want to thank the head of state, President Paul Biya, for listening to the people and trying as much as possible to put in place the democratic process in Cameroon. And one of those was bringing into place the Senate.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much,
yes,
Mr. President.
Emmanuel.
I want to say that the coming of the Senate had simply increased the power of the head of state, because the manner in which it was created, having about 30% of the senators appointed by the head of state, bringing in some of his pro-opposition members, like, I don't want to name them anyway, this has made the Senate to be more of an aggrandizement of the presidential power.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you, Senator Henry Kemende. Thank you, Emmanuel Shu. Thank you very much, Honorable Peter Njume Ambang. Thank you, Emmanuel Teno Tumanjong. Thank you, the gentlemen, for coming. Thank you also for watching this program. If you missed out, please. A rebroadcast comes up on Monday between 2:30 and 3 p.m. Thanks once again. Happy Easter.
Happy Easter.
Thank you. Happy Easter.
Thank you. Thank you.